Okay, so this is like one of the biggest ones that we've had in a long time. I remember having big ones like this like 2 years ago. And then we started getting a little bit of a smaller team. I feel like everybody felt that dip last year. And then now we're building back up. So I'm so excited for this. This is going to be a fire Zoom call. And we're going to have so many different guests on here that are going to share their story. And even if you can't relate to my story, you'll be able to relate to at least one person on this Zoom call story. So every single week we're going to have a new guest on here sharing their best tips, sharing their story, sharing the things that got them to where they are and the things that are working the best for them. So I'm so excited. We actually have Krystal, Haley, but on here it's Krystal Child, her host, and I butchered. So if you want to unmute yourself, we are going to hear from her first and kind of just hear her share her story and tell us a little bit about her.
Hey everyone, it's Childer Hose.
Okay.
Everyone says it wrong. I know. That's why I have my last name on Facebook, Haley, because I'm like, that's easy. That's my middle name. Anyways, I am an Emerald leader. My name's Krystal Childerhose. I've been with the business for 2.5 years now, and it's been quite the ride. I heard about the business for a few years. I seen it on Facebook, and I was just like, always like, what is that? Like, is that even real? I think we've all like thought that at the beginning. And then after I had my son, I was like almost 300 pounds and I was like desperate to lose the weight. So I eventually like decided to try the thermophyte. I lost like 5 pounds my first month, which is like huge. So then I started using it for 2 months. I was down like 15 pounds and then I met my upline, Shannon J, and she offered me the opportunity and I was like, no, like I don't think I could do that. Like I'm not that type of person. Like I don't really post. I'm a very private person. I was like a very negative person. Like I just kind of hated everyone and hated everything. And then she messaged me one day when it was actually like it was like $30 Canadian to sign up. She's like, you have to do this. Come on. And I was like freaking out. I had like 10 minutes to decide. So I was like, screw it. Like, let's just jump in. Um, so it's been life changing for me. I've been able to quit my full-time job. I opened up my own second business, house cleaning. It's just been incredible with all the self development that I've done and like grown into like, a happier person and, not so negative and like thinking that life sucks all the time. So I love this business and I love the people in it. And I'm so happy that I got to meet Chelsea in Florida at the conference. It was so awesome. And yeah, I think that is my story.
I feel like we can relate a lot. So I was actually super negative too before I started this business, and I didn't know that you tried the products first. So
Yeah.
that's huge. So as far as that goes, when you first started your business, you were already using the products consistently, right?
Yeah, like I was like on a roll. Like I was like so focused on like losing weight. Like I lost over 60 pounds with the products. And I love the products. They give me so much energy. They just make me feel so good. And I just love sharing them.
Mhm. Do you feel like when you like coming in, being able to share that testimony helped boost your business right from the start?
Yeah. So like my first month, I think I signed like 21 customers. So
Whoops, I think you're muted. Sorry.
you just muted me.
Sorry.
Wow. Anyways, yeah, so like when I first joined, it was June 2020 and they had like you sign like so many customers and you get like $100. So
Mhm.
they had that happening and I was like, oh, okay. Like I think I got like maybe like $500 from that. And I was like, man, this is easy. And I only had 100 Facebook friends. Like I didn't really know anybody, but I was just doing so many giveaway happs and I was just adding like so many people. Like I think I jumped from like 100 to like 700 in my first month or something. I don't even know. But yeah, think like sharing my testimony and like sharing like, like I still eat McDonald's once a week and like, like all I really do is like walk a bunch and like the weight's coming off. So it really made people like comfortable being like, you don't have to starve yourself and only eat salad to lose weight.
Yeah, and being that relatable. I love the fact that you said that you still like, are eating and you're just like you're walking, like you're doing the things that you're supposed to do. But you're
Hmm.
human, and I feel like a lot of us when we come into this business, we feel like we gotta be like straight edge, we gotta like eat, sleep, and breathe these products, and we have to
Yeah.
just eat, all healthy and starve ourselves in order to be presentable to everybody around. But I feel like you're probably a lot like me where you came in and you were like, no, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to be, I'm going to share my journey along the way. And I know you had a really solid, loyal customer testimony as far as when you first started as a distributor, so, like being a distributor signer, because obviously you signed people to get to where you are. So how did you go about sharing that story, or how do you go about sharing that story every single day on social media?
So I guess I talked about, like the how skeptical I was at first because honestly, like people would message me and ask me to share a post for them, like before I joined the business, and I would tell them to F off and I'd block them. So I was just like so real with them, being like, like I never thought I'd do something like this. And I decided to just like take the chance. And I think in life, like you just kind of have to, if you're stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again and you're miserable, like obviously it means that you have to do something different to get something different. Um, so I guess I talk about like, how skeptical I was. I talk about what it's done for me, how much, I don't really say the amount of money I make because that could be like a big or small number to the person I'm talking to, but just how much it's changed my life and made me, a happier, positive person. Um, yeah, and like I don't know,
Yeah.
just
No,
what
no,
it's
no,
done
no.
for
That's
me.
that's really, really good. I know I put you on the spot there, so I'm sorry, but
That's
I
okay.
I always like to get those different perspectives because like the way that I share my team is very, very similar. I'm just gonna make sure everybody's muted on here. Sorry, girl.
That's
That's
okay.
what I was doing when I muted you, so I'm sorry.
No, I know.
So I always like to share that perspective with my team too, and I feel like you're doing it very similar, where you talk about like what how you were skeptical before you got started, and I feel like all of us were like, just raise your hand or put a 1 in the chat if you were skeptical before you started this business. Okay, me, I was too. I watched a girl for like an entire year, and I doubted her, and I was actually I was a mean girl before I started too. I was not the nicest to the person that enrolled me. And then even when I started, I was not the nicest to her either. No wonder why she quit, right? But when it came down to it, um, I got started and I followed the same thing. I kind of shared, where I came from and what I was skeptical about. But then I didn't share what was going on for me right then and there, how much money I was making. Because obviously, when you first start, you're not making a whole lot of money. And then we go through the dips in our business where we go up, down, up, down, up, down. And so I never really share the money that I'm making. I just share what it could do for me in the future. So I like the fact
Mhm.
that you said that you're kind of projecting things. You're like saying like where you're headed, not necessarily
Mhm.
where you're at right now. And I think that's really good for people to know.
Yeah, and I think like when I first started, we were kind of like I guess coached or like, like suggested that we talk about like like what it's going to do for us, like where we're going, like this is where I'm going, like do you want to be a part of this or not kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
because I'm going here no matter what kind of thing. So just being excited and yeah, and then also I think like talking to potential distributors, trying to build a relationship and like caring about like them and like their lifestyle and like what they're doing. And I have a hard time doing that because I feel like I'm like self-centered sometimes. Like I'm just like, I just want to talk about me. So it's like a constant like battle being like, okay, like I should ask them like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm just being real, like
I'm the same exact way though, like our phone conversations where we have like 5 to 10 minute long voice messages and we're
yeah.
like just going on and on and on. I'm the same exact way, so I get it. And I agree with you, being super personable. And I know that we talked the other day, right? And we were talking about, and I know I'm throwing you off guard, okay?
That's
But
okay.
we talked the other day about getting your potentials on the phone. So I just want to kind of pick your brain a minute because I know that not everybody does that. So I know I personally do, but your perspective on it might be a little bit different from mine. And someone might hear it from me and not get it, but then they hear it from you and they're like, okay, girl, I got this, you know? So I just want to kind of hear like, what are your best tips for getting people on the phone?
Honestly, like it's a lot of people say no, like when you ask them because they're nervous. But like the ones that say yes, like you just have to ask. And it's like a numbers game, I guess. So I don't really know how to get them on the phone. Like they're either gonna do it or they're not. But just like you said before, Chelsea, like as soon as you get them on the phone, it's just like a done deal because they can hear the excitement in your voice and they can hear that you know what you're talking about. And they're like, this girl is like going somewhere and like, I want to be a part of this. And you're just like, I don't know, you just hype them up and you're like, you're going to be so amazing at this. Like, I'm so excited to work with you. um, yeah. So
Yeah.
I also like talking to like potential customers on the phone too. I think it's really important because then they actually see that you're like a real person and not just like a robot.
When you get them on the phone, like kind of jumping all over the place, but when you get potential loyal customers on the phone, is there a certain thing? Because I don't do that, but I would like to try it. So like what if you could say like one tip for getting loyal customers on the phone? Like how does that what does that conversation look like? Do you ask them questions? Like, you know what I mean?
I guess it's like if they're busy and if they're like hard to reach, you know, like some people only check their Facebook like maybe once or twice a day. And if it's like that, I'll be like, hey, like, you know, if it's easier and quicker, like could I give you a phone like a phone call? Like what's your number? Or here's my number, like when's a good time to call? And then they kind of say like, yeah, like usually like, you know, like I think like people our age, they're not like into that, but I find more like, you
Mm.
know, like I don't know, like like our mom's age,
Yeah, yeah, like 40s and
you
up
know,
pretty
because
much. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll get
they
on.
have stuff going on. So like it's better for them to like schedule something and like be like, okay, at this time, this is what's happening. And then yeah. And it's a good way to I remember my first month, there was this guy, he wanted to call me and I was so nervous. I'm like, I don't know like anything about these products. But it was like the 20th or something and my upline was like, you know what you're talking about, you know, like if you don't know, just have a script out in front of you so you could like, you know, pick stuff out of it as you're talking to him. And he signed up on the phone, like he gave me all of his information. So it was scary, but it was like really exciting.
Yeah, that's really good. I was gonna ask you that question actually. Are you afraid before you get on the phone with them?
Yeah, like even like I always get scared. Like before this Zoom call, I was like feeling sick to my stomach. I'm like, oh my God. Like, should I just cancel? No, that's gonna make me look bad.
I did the same exact thing. That's so funny, especially when Stacy first had me do one of the Zoom calls with her, like 6 months ago or something like that. I hopped on and I was so nervous to share my story. I was shaking and I was bouncing all over the place. And I feel like it's crazy because people, especially, people who are brand new in this business, they look at us like we're like these top leaders, like we are invincible, like we can literally do anything. And like, we're just so amazing. Like we're almost famous. You know what I mean? But when you actually look inside of what we go through and what we face every single day, you're like, oh my gosh, she's just like me. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to like feeling the fear, it's not that Krystal and I don't feel the fear, guys. We feel this fear and sometimes super in depth. Like sometimes we get full blown panic attacks, like worried, scared. I don't know about you, but like I ended up scaring myself into the hospital when I first started. It was nuts, like crazy, because I just had panic attack after panic attack because I've never been really the people person type of person. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, we feel that fear that you guys are all fearing, like feeling. But the only difference is that Krystal and I feel that fear and we just do it anyways. We just say, no, 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 we're just gonna do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she hopped on the Zoom call. You know what I mean? So, and I know that some of you can relate to that, and some of you are just learning that skill. That is a skill. That's not something you're born with. That's not something that just poof, you just start this business and all of a sudden you're like a boss babe. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that. So you got to grow that skill to be able to do that. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Now, in the middle of a phone call, have you ever gotten someone who like is flat out like, nope, I'm not interested?
No, I don't think so. I've gotten like, I'll think about it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then I'm like, okay, like when should I check in with you?
Good. Yeah. So you get like a
Yeah.
date from them then, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You like you never want to just like leave the conversation. I think it's really important to just like not leave it dead. Like you need to take control of the conversation and be like when. And then if they don't give you a date, you have to follow up with them anyways.
That's right. The fortune's in the follow-up. So I get it. Yeah. I've actually been told no a couple of times. Have you ever had to like have a conversation with a potential distributor and deny them over the phone? Just
No.
curious. Okay.
No.
Okay. You might eventually. I don't know. Like I did that
Yeah, probably.
sometimes.
I think like I'm it's so hard for me to do that because like I think in my mind right now I'm just like so excited about a distributor that I don't know. I'm like I don't know. I
Yeah.
think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. When I first started, I was going for high rank so much that I was willing to take anybody. And then as I got
Yeah.
to diamond, I was like, okay, some of these people are showing up on my team and they're doing absolutely nothing. And in my mind, I was like, it is so much harder for me to drag a bunch of dead bodies than to have a bunch of people walking with me, right? So I started looking for those walkers and those runners, right? The people who are like willing to show up, the people who are loyal, committed, things like that. We actually ask a lot of questions on our team, like whenever I get on an interview. And I just want to mention this because I know I have a lot of people who are like invested in this conversation now. As far as getting potentials on the phone, I ask questions. I just say, are you open to personal development? I ask them if they're willing to show up on Zoom calls. I ask them if like what times throughout the day they're willing to work. And like if they don't answer those questions the way that we need them to in order for them to actually be a runner or a walker on my team, then I just say, I don't think this is the best fit for you right now. But let's revisit it here in the next couple of weeks. Does that sound good? And then when they say, yeah, we revisit it. If their mindset's still not the greatest, okay, we're going to just leave it at that. We're not going to pursue someone who's going to be a squatter right from day one. You know what I mean? And I know you know what I'm talking about. Like you've had people probably on your team who like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, okay, that you get them started and they do absolutely nothing. Have you ever had someone like that before?
Yeah, like a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I signed somebody one time and like she was so excited and then like literally like an hour later she like blocked me on Facebook. I
Mhm.
was like, oh, okay. Like that's awkward.
I've had the same exact thing happen to me, so I know exactly how you feel when that happens.
It just feels so like unsolved and like unfinished. You're just like left like wondering like what happened.
Yeah. Have you ever been through a time in your business where you went through a point where you were like, is it me? And you question yourself with not only just the distributors quitting, but like also just in your business, like our business goes like this. Have you ever been in a valley where you've sat there and like reflected on yourself?
Yeah, like all the time.
What do you do to
It's
get
that
out of those
it's
ruts?
so I reach out to people that, like my upline or like it was so awesome going to Florida to like meet you guys because I feel like me and you are a lot alike and I'm so grateful for you. But yeah, like reaching out to like I know Jessica Cook. I don't know if you know who she is,
Yep.
but she's like a really like supportive person and she just like listens. Like I'm a very emotional person and sometimes I really just need somebody to listen to me. I don't need somebody to like give me suggestions or whatever. I just want somebody to understand my feelings. So I think like Jessica Cook's like amazing for that.
Mm-hmm.
She's like my little personal diary. And then also like self-development, like getting a book and just like trying to get out of my head and just like focus on like what's at hand and being like, like I also like look in the mirror and I tell myself like you're a badass bitch. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, let's go, let's do this. Like, you can do this. Like, you're gonna sign a customer today. You're attracting distributors that want to work. You're attracting distributors that are gonna show up every day and do the things because they want to. And I write that down like a million times, and I journal too. I used to be so consistent with journaling, and it was really good for me. So I definitely need to start doing that again.
Yeah, we all go on and off with journaling, I feel like. So
Yeah.
don't feel bad about that at all. Uh,
Yeah, but I think it's very normal for us to like go up and down. But I remember I actually saw in a memory like yesterday, I think. I was like checking out my memories. And I remember Mark Pentecost, he was like talking about something on Facebook, and he was like, he's like, it's okay to think about quitting or whatever, like to think about like stopping, just as long as you never quit. And I remember commenting on that, and he like liked my comment, and I was like, "Oh my God, Mark Pentecost liked my comment." And I like shared it to my story.
I would feel the same
Yeah.
way, so I totally understand where you're coming from. So as
Yeah.
far as I know, you talked about personal development, doing personal development. If someone was in a rut where they were like, I don't know how to get past this, is there a book or a podcast series or something like that that you would personally recommend for that person who is like really struggling to get out of the valley right now?
Like within like their life or like the business.
I would say, I mean, both, I guess, when it comes down
Yeah.
to it, like whether it be the valley, as in like they are just starting and they're struggling to get started, or maybe their business did one of these thingies, you know?
Yeah. I love the book Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. His voice is like so attractive. I love listening to him, and he's just so funny. Like I just love that book. I love listening to it. I only do Audible. I just like when I pick up a book to read, I'm like asleep within like 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Like it just puts me to sleep. So Audible is like definitely a life changer because you can listen to it like going for a walk, going for a drive, doing whatever. So yeah, definitely Be Obsessed or Be Average. Another book though that I really loved was Girl Wash Your Face.
Mhm.
That was like an amazing book just about like just in life in general, and you know how we all go through hard times, but we just get up and keep going, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually one of my first books too. I think that was like my first book that I ever read was Girl Wash Your Face.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, like I'll be real, I stopped reading after that one specifically. And then I had someone that was on our sideline. You probably remember her, but she was like, you need to get to reading. Like you gotta read some books. And you know how like you feel when you just have like that one friend that's like, you gotta get it together, girl. Like you gotta make it happen. That was who she was for me at the time. And so that's why, you know, I kind of flip it around and I try to be that for everybody else because I know that, you know, it takes that one person just reaching out to you and saying, you got this, you can do this, you know. And yeah, so that's that. So anyways, I wanted to ask you a question about your tips. So if there was like one number one tip you could give, we'll start with like your new distributors, okay? What would your biggest tip for your new distributors be for like the new distributors that are on here?
I guess just like trust the process and know that, you know, if you don't see results like immediately, that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. If you're, you know, showing up and doing all the tasks, like getting up haps, growing your network and sharing to your story and following up and you're posting and all that stuff. Like I know it may seem like a lot, but just like, you know, whenever you start something, it's always difficult. You just have to get into the groove of things, trust the process and plant the seeds. And then eventually things are just going to start popping off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like, you know, everybody's network is different. Some people have like, you know, a lot of people that are willing to like try the product right away and some people don't. And it can be discouraging. And I think that you just can't give up. You just have to, you know, keep trying and keep like finding different ways and
Uh-huh.
just trust that it's going to happen. And like self-development.
Yeah, self-development is definitely key. We actually push our girls. I know on my team, we help and encourage them to get at least one book in their hands every single week. So personal development, like you're talking to someone who I can get behind that. Okay. So as far as new distributors go, is there any um is there anything that when you first started that you wish that you would have known right from the start that maybe you could share with someone that maybe you learned later on down the road? You know what I mean? If I'm putting you two on the spot, we'll skip it. It's really okay.
I think it would be like knowing about like distributors like right away. You know, like I didn't really everything was like kind of like I don't know.
Like
I don't
mushed
know how to
together, right?
Yeah, like I didn't sign my first distributor for I think like 2 months or like 3 months or something. And it was just like lots of customers. And then I was like never talking to anybody about the business and like joining my team. So I wish I would have like done it like sooner. I'm not sure if it would have made a difference, but I don't know.
Yeah. And especially growing along the way. Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like the more I get in depth with my personal growth, the better quality distributors that I sign. Do you feel that
Mhm.
way?
Yeah. I guess another tip I would say would, you know, don't just sign anybody just to have a distributor. Because I know it gets exciting and you know, a lot of people get excited, but then they think that like you're gonna get rich like right away and then they don't do anything or it's just very frustrating when, you know, you're so excited and then like they just like don't do anything. You're like, well then.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. And when you're signing people too, it's like I said, it's easier to not force them to get started or not push them when it's the wrong time. You know what I mean? And it's better off to wait until they're 100% ready so that you don't have to literally like drag them and try to convince them that they need this every single day. It is so exhausting when you have to hear someone on the other line saying like, I'm not going to give up. I promise I'm not going to give up or whatever. When you know that because they're saying those words on the other line, their brain is obviously thinking of giving up or quitting. You got to remove that out of your vocabulary. And I think you probably agree with me when you say that, when I say that just those words being in your sentence alone, your mind's already thinking about it. You still have that on the back burner. You've got to like remove that pot right off your stove. Okay, like completely eliminate it. Your water's boiling on all four burners, and you just got to keep it boiling. That's what you got to do, right? There is no option
Yeah.
to quit or turn those suckers down. You've got to keep them going on high. So I love that you said that, you know, don't sign just anybody. You know, you want to find your good quality people. And as you go, like personal development wise, you sign like such better quality people. So if there's anybody on here who like you're struggling with personal development or you're putting it on the back burner, don't do that to yourself. Just don't do it. Put it on the very front burner. That should be your end all be all, your very first thing you do when you first wake up in the morning, your very last thing that you do at night because of how you end your day. You start your day the same way, you know, and get it going. Because if you don't, you're actually missing out on 80% of what this business is all about, right? Because it's 80% growth, 20% skill. If you're not doing the 80%, you're kind of not doing your business the way that it should be done, right? So
I agree.
as far as your people who, and I know we talked about this like a couple weeks ago, I think it was, we had like that long conversation about, you know, the falls and the dips in your business. And I explained to you, you know, I went downhill and then I had to come back up and I literally built my business up to diamond and diamond and above, like probably 3 times now. And it came down crashing and then went back up, then came down crashing. And it's kind of like that roller coaster ride in the business. But every single time that I come back up even higher the next time. I always hit that next rank that I was really going for because I'm just so excited to do it, right? It's kind of like if you're in the water, like just picture yourself like in a pool. The lower you go down to the bottom of that pool, the easier it's going to be to push yourself off the ground to skyrocket up out of the water, right? So with every single time that you dive down or jump down, you want to like you're going to end up going deeper and deeper, but you're going to be able to catapult yourself higher and higher every single time. So my question is, is for those people who have a dip in their business, or maybe they're building it back up, what would be something that you would like your number one tip, or what would be something that like your last rebuild, what would it look like, or like what would be your biggest tip for that, you know, just rebuilding in general, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
So I can't remember. I think it was, what's her name? Somebody I met in Florida. Oh, she's a part of corporate. Ginger. I don't know if you've ever met Ginger. She's
Mm.
like such a sweetheart. Um, we were at the Luminary like on the last day. We were like having like a brunch or something. I don't know if you were there. I don't think you were there. No, it was just Canada. Sorry.
Yeah,
Just Canada.
I'm close to Canada, but not Canadian.
You were left out. Just kidding. No, but anyways, I was talking to her about like, you know, like where I'm at and stuff, and she was like really telling me about like a strong foundation. Like you really got to have a strong foundation. And like when she was talking to me, I was like listening to her and I had like no idea what she was talking about. I was like, why are you talking to me about houses right now? I'm so confused. But then like I think like 2 weeks later, it like finally clicked into me is that like you have to build like, you know, you have to care about your team and you have to, you know, want them to succeed, because then wanting them to succeed, I think me and you talked about this too. I think you're the one that actually made it click for me.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it was. But anyways, like you have to really want it for your team so bad. And obviously like they have to want it too, because otherwise it's not gonna work. But like it's so hard to say. Like you have to want it for your team so bad that they're gonna like just like effortlessly like do the work, grow their business, and in return it's gonna help you grow as well. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to just like really pour into my team and like motivate them and like, you know, really want them to work their business and all that stuff and make it fun as well and not like be a dictator. Because
Yeah.
I think like in the past I was always just like, come on guys, let's do this, like you got to do this, you got to do that, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. And people were just like, what's wrong with this girl, like she's just yelling at us all the time. So I'm just trying to like, you know, be there for them and ask them what they need and like work with them like one-on-one and just like, you know, grow the relationship and all that stuff. And then also just I'm trying to sign a whole bunch of distributors right now. Like I have been having like, you know, like 10 15 potential customers, sorry, distributors every single day, just from like apps and everything. Just like I know that no one's signed yet, but I know that it's coming soon and it's just gonna be like bam 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 bam. So, and
I
I'm
love that you
truly,
say that too. I gotta mute.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So I have, I'm excited and I know that it's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've kind of seen, I have another question to ask you too, but this was
Okay.
something that I want to ask right off the bat. So you've kind of seen the the side effect of like planting your seeds and then eventually getting the harvest. And that's what you're talking about when you say, I know it's coming soon, because you've seen what it does when already when you plant the seed and plant the seed and plant the seed and you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that's something that we actually touched base with on the last Zoom series a lot, was planting the seed and that harvest. And I think that a lot of us that are on this Zoom call are just starting, you know, just starting out in their business, and they are like planting the seeds, or they're like showing up one day, not showing up the next day, showing up the next day. You know what I mean? We all went through that stage in our business. And I feel like definitely a lot of them needed to hear you say that you know that it's coming soon, that it's going to come eventually. You just have to keep staying consistent, taking massive action. That's how you gain the momentum in your business, is by taking massive action every single day. Don't skip a beat on that, and you will see a huge harvest. And that's what Krystal's saying that she's going for, is that big potential distributor harvest, which I'm doing the same exact thing. So we're kind of on that same level trying to promote it. And then the other question I had, you said to me on the phone a while back that you were a red
Yeah.
personality, right? Yeah, so I actually I had talked to her about this because when I first started my business, I personally thought that I was a red because I was like super in people's faces. Like I remember doing that same exact thing where I was like, if you don't show up in your business every single day, you don't want it, you know? Which is like the hard, like why would we say that to someone? You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that they just don't want it. It just means that they don't see the value in it yet, or they don't have a strong enough why to get going. You know, your why is what really pushes you to go every single day. So if you're struggling to show up every day, you know, you got to really readjust and think like, why am I really here? What's really going to pull me every single day? I have this conversation with newbies a lot. You know, talking about like, you know, when you want to be successful just as much as you want to breathe, that is your why. Okay. So when I first started, I wanted to pay all my bills because I was losing my house. I was not going to lose my house, right? So I wanted that more than I wanted to breathe at that point. And so it brought me to hustle, you know, and some of us are starting out more fortunate than others. So like you're not struggling in anything right now and you're doing really, really good, but you're not like you got to figure out what's actually going to pull you, what's your next level of life, you know. But I wanted to relate to your red because I remember having this conversation, I'm pretty sure it was with you, where I said I thought that I was so red because I was like bossing people around and I lost a lot of people. I signed like over 750 distributors, and it was like out of those 750, maybe 10 of them stayed because I was not nice. Okay. I was not a great person. Like I was just very me. And that's what you'll see with a lot of reds that don't know how to maintain, right? Like that don't know how to like talk to people, which is what we all go through. Um, but I realized along the journey, just by reading, that I was not a red, that I was just a yellow that was very, very focused on my family and where I was going. And so that, like, you know how they say, like, love will make you do crazy things? That's what it was. It was like a love was making me like my love for my family was making me absolutely crazy. My love for my daughter was like making me just like want it so bad that it was like if you weren't doing it, you were in my way. You know what I mean? And I think that that's why I did that when I first started, was because of that specifically. Whereas, you know, yellows are really good at reading people. And so I started realizing that down the road that I was really a yellow. And then the last thing I want to touch base on, because you had said that something that I had said had changed everything. What was it that you said to me on this call? You said that's really what shifted my perspective. Oh, it was about
Foundation, like
building a solid foundation, loving your team, right? Yeah. So really believing in your team, guys. This like season of my life, I'm finally starting to realize that this business is just about caring about your team like you care about yourself, right? Like literally loving your team through all the hard things. And the more you pour into them and the more that you love them, the more they are going to naturally grow, which is going to naturally grow your business. I am seeing this every single day in my business. And I want to share with you guys the person who I actually learned this from. And if you haven't gotten the pleasure to meet her, talk to her, or, you know, follow her on Facebook, is Stacy Lease. She literally was like she was like an angel in my life almost, right? Like she literally showed me what it looked like to love other people unconditionally and like be there for complete strangers when you don't even really know them, and what it really looks like to be a leader and make yourself available for other people. That was something that I struggled with for the longest time, was making myself available. One, it was like I would go days without talking to the girls on my team because I was living in this fear that, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I can lead them. You know what I mean? Once again, I turned it on myself and was like being kind of selfish when it came to it. And then whenever they would write me, I almost felt bothered by them writing me for the longest time. I don't know if you ever went through that stage, but I went through that stage, and that was like 4 years ago, something like that. We've grown past it. We've read a lot of John Maxwell books and learned how to treat people. But yeah, so I wanted to add that 2 cents in because I know this conversation has been a lot about leadership. I feel like, don't you agree? Yeah. So
yeah.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to add before you got off here?
I don't know.
I think that there was one more question that I had on the list. I don't know if you wrote it down or not, but I said your biggest lesson in your business. Is there anything that we haven't covered that would be like a biggest lesson for you?
Like a lesson that I've learned.
Yeah, maybe about business and then about life.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm so on the spot.
No,
Like
I understand. I go through the same exact thing whenever I'm on the spot too, so I get it. Uh,
all that came to my mind was like, like be positive and try to like keep a positive outlook on things and have hope and have faith and trust that if you're doing all the things that it's going to happen.
mhm.
Um, I have been struggling with the business, and that's why I'm so happy that you invited me on the call because I think I'm in a valley right now. So this call has really helped me as well. So I'm just super excited. And after this, I'm gonna send out some hat messages.
Yeah, that's so good. I'm so glad. And I feel like a lot of us, like, if you're like on this call, okay, and you feel like you're in a valley, like Krystal said, I feel like I was in a valley all last year. And last year was my year of growth. It was not my year of success. So last year, we struggled to get our business back up to where it was before for a while. And I felt like I was stuck. Like anybody here, just drop a two in the chat, almost in the comment section, like it's doing a live, girl. In the chat, if you have ever felt like you were just kind of stuck, like you didn't know where to go, what to do, anything like that. Okay, I'm gonna share with you guys. I'll share this tip with you guys, and then we'll call out. But one of the biggest things, yeah, I see two, so many people. Okay, so this right here should show you that you're not alone, that you're not the only one who's struggling. You're not the only one who's going through a valley. You're not the only one who's, feeling like they're stuck per se, right? We're only stuck if we choose to stay stuck, right? And I think that that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned along the way is when you tell yourself you're stuck, you're stuck. When you tell yourself that you're going to keep going, you're going to keep going, right? And it's 100% up to you and what you tell yourself every single day. So as far as getting out of that rut of feeling that stuck, last year was my year where I committed to my personal development. Guys, 365 days ago, I was not the same person that I am today. And it's so crazy because not only does my team see this, I know I've got a couple of lifers on my team who are like, Chelsea's so different. It's crazy, right? But I've got some friends that are personally in my life that have come to me personally and been like, you're just so approachable. And I just love being around you, right? This all stemmed from personal development. Even my relationship with my man is the same exact way, like completely 180. We've switched everything around, and it's all because I invested into my mindset this last year. So 2022 was a year of growth, and I committed myself to reading 4 books at least every single month. And I know that sounds really crazy for a lot of you, but guys, Audible was like my best friend. So I got these books down packed by just listening to them. And I'm telling you guys, like, listen to them while you're in the shower, listening to them while you are doing dishes, while you are doing laundry, while you're driving. Listen to the books. And I don't want to hear that, well, I can't soak it in all that much. Listen, like, I believe in God personally. I know not everybody on the Zoom call does, but I believe that your higher power wants you to hear certain things in every single book. So even if you tune out on some of the things that are in that book, God will come down and give you the things that you need to hear, right? And those things will be planted in the book for a reason. And you will hear only those things because you are meant to hear them and take those lessons away from it. So Audible was my best friend. It was so good. I do read physical books, but I only do one a month because I'm just a slow reader, and I highlight like a crazy person. Um, So yeah, listening to Audible is definitely my best friend. And I have also, I know Sam put in there, she said 5 kids very loud. Make it happen every single day. She does it, you know, and headphones, they come in handy, right? You can get yourself some of those wireless headphones, plug one of them in your ear, walk around with it all day long. I'm telling you, then if you do that just for the next 6 months, you will not be the same person that you are right now. You will be a better version of you. You'll be a better friend. You'll be a better mom. You'll be a better wife. You will be a better leader. You'll be a better downline. You will just learn how to ask questions. You will literally be more confident, more excited, more happy. You'll know exactly where you're going. You will be unstoppable. Okay. That's how I'm feeling right now. If I could describe myself in one word this year, it would be I am unstoppable, because I will not back down because of the growth that I did the last 365 days. So if you're in this rut, if you feel like you're stuck right now, take this and run with it. I promise you it's going to change everything. Choose to be a personal development team. We have done that on our team, and we have some fire going on right now. We got promotions popping everywhere. So I'm so excited. If you don't have anything to add onto that, if you do, great. If you don't, no big deal. We'll go ahead and end this call. I don't think there's
I do have one thing I want to say
go ahead.
about self-development. Like I know that, like, you know, we all get in our head and we all start like doubting ourselves and like thinking this and thinking that. But if you're doing self-development, you're literally not going to have any time to think like that, because you're going to be thinking about all the things that you're hearing in the book and all the things you're reading in the book, and how, like, you know, excited you are and how inspired you are and how like relatable all these things you're hearing, being like, oh my God, like I felt like that too. And like, it's going to be okay type of thing. So get busy reading, and, you know, don't find time. You have to make time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so good. It's all about like who's in your circle, right? Like if you, just like you said, if you're normally like a negative person or something, or you have these negative thoughts that are going through your head, or you have these thoughts of failure or quitting, or like it's not working for me or whatever, right? We all have those moments. If you are filling your head with positive things and positive authors that are just pouring into you, and you're listening to them all the time, just like Krystal said, you will not have time to think those negative thoughts anymore. Like it won't even be on your agenda, because it won't even be able to come into your head because of that. And also thinking about the people that you surround yourself with. Who are you listening to every single day? Do you have someone who's super negative that's in your ear? It's time for you to get your distance going and set some boundaries, right? It's time for you to read a book about boundaries, learn how to do it, and then set those boundaries up so that you can get better, so you can do better, so you can make bigger things happen for yourself, so you can move your life forward. It is not selfish to become the best version of yourself. You're doing it not only for you, but all the people who are going to come after you. So I agree 100%. And then yes, you are so right. Yep. Awesome. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to end this Zoom call. Thank you so much for hopping on here, Krystal. I loved having you on, and it's so good to see you face to face, since we haven't seen each other in like, what, 3 months now? Almost 3 months now.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited
Thank
for you
you.
to hit these next promotions, and to hear everything that's going on your team. I'm so excited that you jumped back in and you're just like going all in. And I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great night.
Bye.